in one of my prior episodes, we talked about the AI grind mode versus vibe mode, where grind mode was where AI was creating like more work, right? Like it was creating the need to read the transcript and read the notes and read more things around what the AI could do. And vibe mode is, letting it sort of like do the work for you in a sense. Give me your perspective.
Yeah, grind mode versus vibe mode is a really good contextual way to put it. The problem I think that we're going to run into in grind mode is that great, we have a lot more information. We have a 30-minute meeting. We're not boiling it down to 3 bullet points anymore. Well, do I have to process that information? Now every meeting is just like a robust, like what happened in the meeting. Here's all the work that needs to be done. Here's all the context you could ever have. That's going to create problems along the actual like mental capacity to process that, right? No one is leaving at 5 o'clock and being like, you know what? My brain is so fresh. Like I executed tons of work right now prior to LLMs. And I'm just like, I could do so much more work, but I don't need to because work is done, right? They were already overloaded with information. We're going to be cramming more information into that thought space.
Yeah.
So I think there's a combination of the two, right? When we have to trust that like on the vibe mode side, that certain types of work can be done by the LLMs well. I think the easiest way to put it is writing. LLMs do 2 things really well: structure unstructured data and write, right? I think we're going to have to get past the fact that like when you're writing an email or a 1-page document or creating like a PDF guide, that we need to read everything that was done and we can't just like send that on its way at some point. The writing piece will help reduce that contextual space. But I think the second piece, it's going to be up to the software providers of LLM technology. Let's say that let's call them the LLM wrappers, which is a disparaging term right now, but the software to figure out how to surface the right information at the right time in a digestible way to help the user to reduce the complexity rather than increase it. That's going to be the key. Simple software leveraging backend technology, like grind mode with a lot of vibe underneath the like kind of water level there.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is I've been having a lot of this conversation with my SDRs recently. I actually also have the SDRs under me. And a lot of it is actually teaching them how to have good conversations instead of having the LLM have the conversation like for them. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, give me what's an example of something like that, like you teach them about like orchestrating the conversation.
Like, for example, things like, oh, pausing, like learning to listen, not going five line pitch straight away, right? Those are things that the LLM can generate for us really well. It can generate a really good like 5-line pitch, but it's the
Right.
way in which we deliver the conversation that you know I feel only humans can do this. But help me with your perspective here.
That's a good way. Let me take 2 points there. Let's come to that core point. I think this is a great example of like in the past, what you had to do is spend a lot of time developing that 5-line pitch, right? So like I have to figure out based on my memory and all the conversations I have and product marketing and my sales leadership, what's the 5-line pitch? That was an intensive exercise that generally what would happen is you'd spend a couple of weeks working through it and then you wouldn't touch it for a year, right? So that would be it. It's just like gathers dust. And then maybe it's like, you know what, this pitch might not be working so well. Let's try something else. I think LLMs can do a lot of the, let's say, vibe work underneath like the water level again, and then enable it so that like you're taking that pitch and you're doing a better job putting it into action, right? How do you use pace, speed, tone on, especially like for an SDR who has to do this on, let's say, a cold call, right? To sound confident with a pitch. And so now that's the 70% of work that I'm doing rather than the generation of it. I think secondarily, if you take a broader view of this problem, what you're going to be able to do is iterate better on this, right? So like we actually should orchestrate conversations in a way that like the LLMs will get an advantage from that conversation. A good example is something we may have to do in the future is not topic switch so much. If you could actually stay on topic within a conversation, then the LLM has a better job of knowing that that topic in its entirety is the information set that it should know about that topic, rather than a scattered series of like conversations that it's going to parse out kind of incorrectly. It's the same thing. Like I get really explicit about to-dos on calls now. hey, by next Wednesday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then by the following Wednesday, I'm going to do A. Because I know the LLMs can then take that batch and create my task for me automatically as a reminder. We probably have to get a little bit more skillful with how we're orchestrating meetings and conversations to leverage the technology appropriately. And I think the gains are going to be 10x compared to what they are right